Hi everybody, let's get started. So what I did is I got 6 packs of a water wave hair, the Sensationals brand, and then I also got a pack of a braiding hair. It was the pre-stretch hair, it's 24 inches, and the water wave hair was 18 inches. I'm also following the tutorial from Chev here on YouTube. I'll make sure to link the original video because that is where I got all the information. So what I did is I pre-stretched my hair the night before, so I washed it and I braided it, and then I took all the braids down and I went through and I combed each section. So I am going to go ahead and blow dry my hair. For me, it just helps because my hair is pretty thick and not really friendly with gels. So it's easier if I go in and make sure that I blow dry my hair out so that it's super neat and it'll definitely last throughout the time that I need it to last. So you'll see me right here. I'm going to just go through and blow dry all the different sections. So after you're done blow drying, you're going to go in and take the rubber bands. So I didn't forget to mention that you'll need rubber bands, and you will also need the conditioning gel, the Shine and Jam, and it's also optional if you want to use an edge control. So I also did use an edge control, and I'll link the one I used in the comments. So from here, you're going to go and part your hair and plaits. So it's easier, even though this takes a minute, if you go in and plait your hair ahead of time, and then you're just going to band your hair all around. So I will say it took me a little minute to part, especially because I'm doing the back and I was having to check back and forth to make sure that the parts were as straight as possible. And don't get me wrong, they're definitely not perfect, but take your time. So right now here, I'm just showing you all the different plaits that I have in my hair. I didn't count them, but I didn't have a lot. I wanted to make sure that it didn't take me forever, but in the end, it did take me forever to do. But let's get into the part with the actual crocheting hair. So right now you see me pulling the water wave hair. So I used 4 strands of water wave hair. And then I just took a piece of the braiding hair. So I'm showing you as I'm pulling through. So not a very big piece. And I will say, just like the tutorial I followed, however much braiding hair you take out is going to determine how thick the braid is. So then you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to stick it into your ponytail. So this was a little tricky for me because I could never figure out how to do crochet. So this is literally my first time in life being able to figure it out. So when you stick in the crochet needle, you're going to make sure that it's open when you stick it in your hair. And then you're going to take the hair and hook it on the little latch, and then you're going to close the latch. And then once it's closed with the hair in it, you're going to pull through your hair and that hair as well. Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but I will show it more than one time. So now you just see me straightening the braiding hair to make sure it's even on both sides as much as possible. And then I'm going to go in and do the water wave hair. Now sometimes you can do all 4 pieces. You may have to break it up and do 2 pieces of the curly hair and then do another 2 pieces to get it through. And I will say, as I'm showing it, I did the braiding hair first, but as I started going and doing my hair, it was actually smarter to do the curly hair first, to latch that, and then go in and latch the braiding hair after I latched all the curly pieces. So after you pull the hair through, you're going to fix it so that it's even on both sides, and then you will begin to braid, and that gives you the knotless effect. So once I get this piece through, and I left this piece in so you can see that there were some times where I was struggling a little bit to pull the hair through. I did get to the point where I was taking the crochet needle and making sure to pull the hair all the way through with the crochet needle. So yeah, so you will see that here. That is me trying to get the hair through. So I finally got the hair through, and then from there you will try to make sure that each section is even with some braiding hair, your hair, and the curly hair. Hopefully that makes sense, so that you know everything is evenly distributed and one side of the braid or one strand of the braid doesn't look bigger than the other. So just do your best, because of course you can't see it, so there is some feeling around. And I will also say it's not the biggest deal if it's not totally even. You have some time as you're going down the braid to pull hair and borrow hair. And so right now I'm just going in and sectioning that hair and pulling it through, so I can make sure once I start braiding that it's not super tangled. I did have some spots where the hair was getting tangled. I wasn't sure if it was the curly hair that was getting tangled or the braiding hair, or a combination of the two. But just take your time, and if you need to, grab a comb or a brush and brush through the ends, and that should help you be able to get the braid going. So once you comb the hair out, and you're going to just start braiding. So you're just going to go all the way down with the braid. Now this style ended up taking me, I would say, at least 6 hours. The tutorial I followed, she said, I believe that it took her 3 hours. I will say that it took me longer because, again, this was my first time ever crocheting hair, period. So it definitely took me a little minute. And then I also was trying to film and, you know, stop for mom life, all kind of things going on. So what I didn't show a good job of is that some of the pieces of hair, I was taking my edge control and using that to slick down the hair before I started to crochet the other hair in. That way it would just blend easily and it wouldn't be super fuzzy once I started braiding. So I'm just showing here again, hopefully a better image of me hooking the braiding hair on the latch and then closing it, and then I'm going to pull through and just repeat that with the curly hair. So you're just going to pull that little loop and hole gap that you see whenever you pull the crochet needle through. You're going to take that and use that to pull the rest of the hair through. It's not hard, it doesn't hurt. Just take your time. And now you see me going in and putting in the curly hair, and then I will pull that through, and then I will get the braid started. Now I will be showing you a little bit on how you do the ends in a few minutes, but you braid all the way till your desired length. I didn't want mine as long as the tutorial that I followed, so I just picked a spot. And once you get to the spot that you're going to choose, you will take a piece of hair, a pretty small piece of hair, and you will tie that around the end. And I did my knot twice. So from there, you will go in and cut any straggly pieces, and you can also determine your length and how much curl you want at the end. I was also leaving my braiding hair out because my braiding hair was longer than the curly hair. The curly hair was 18 inches and the braiding hair was 24 inches. So when I got to the end of the braid, I just cut the braiding hair that was sticking out and was straight and not curly, so that all you saw at the very end was the curly hair. And I will show that here in a second. So this is me just braiding to the end, and you see how that one piece is straight, so that's the braiding hair, and those are the pieces that I will be going in and cutting. So when you get to the end, you're just going to match your other braids to that original braid to make sure that they're all the same length, and then you will just go in and cut it. So this is me braiding to the end. And then I was using the curly pieces to tie it, not the straight pieces, because they are better to tie with since they're already curly, and they're easier to wrap than if you were to try to take the braiding hair and wrap that. So this is just me matching it to make sure that it's the same length as the other braids, and then trying to pick a piece to take as the piece to tie. So there's the piece that I'm going to use. And just tie it. And then tie it one more time. And then you will just match it up with the other ones and you will cut. Now you may not want to pull the curly hair too much because you want to make sure that once it bounces back, it's not too short, because there were two that I ended up making too short and I had to go back and redo. So you see how that braiding hair is still left, and I'm going to go in and cut those so that they're not sticking out. And then also you can go in and cut any pieces of hair on the braid that's sticking out and making those like ragged ends. So I did a little bit of that. I didn't do too much. And then I'll also note that at the end I did go in and pull the braids out just to make sure that they were a little bit distressed. And that was it, guys. So let me know if you have any questions below. Definitely subscribe and turn on your bell notifications to make sure you see any other videos that I upload. And again, let me know if you have any questions. I will be willing to answer any questions you have. So thanks for watching. Black boy joy.